Evolutionary.org, podcast coming your way, episode 465, Q&A, Stevesmi, Ricky V. Rod. What's up?
Hey, what's up, Steve? What's up, Gas? How's everybody doing out there?
5 great topics coming your way. Why don't we get right into it, Rick? So the first one is going to be, if you could give your advice to yourself at 25, what would it be in regards to fitness? So, Rick, do you want to start off on this one? Or do you want me to start?
Yeah, why not? At 25, I was already pumping the sauce. That's a good question, bro. I thought it would be real easy to answer, but I guess
just imagine you could go back in time till you're 25.
Yeah. I guess
what would you say?
I would mainly stress the importance of the joints. I would definitely inform myself that the higher dosages were something that I was going to not want to do later on anyway. So just don't even do those now. Definitely watch my joints quite a bit. I've also I'm going to sneak this one in because it's fitness related talk. I probably would have said, hey, Rick, emu oil and caffeine, vitamin E. I'd give myself the main core formula for Entu shampoo, and I would have developed Entu shampoo a full almost 7 years earlier than I did, which would have, my head of hair would probably look quite a bit different now had I came up with Entu shampoo before I lost it. And I think mainly Entu shampoo. Watch the joints, watch the freaking joints. You just stop it with the higher dosages now. You're gonna you won't be doing that later on anyway. And fasting is, I'd give myself a whole talk on fasting. I kind of sort of already fasted. I was already time restricted feeding just naturally. I gave up doing breakfast around that age. I had already just cut the fucking bullshit with the breakfast out. I was just having black coffee or green tea, no sugars, no sweeteners. And I would have told me like, hey, this natural thing that you kind of feel like your body needs to do, like you feel like doing sometimes. Yeah, like this is good for you. Like do it now, regiment it, 5-6 days water fast. I would have educated myself really that early on water fasting aspects of it. Told myself to stay the hell out of the sun more. Definitely at 25, I would have definitely told myself, hey, psyllium husk, probiotics, digestive enzymes every day, with every meal if you can, but at least once a day. Definitely the probiotics. If I would have known about probiotics and the gut biome and how that can affect, I would have gotten rid of my anxiety that I suffered with almost a full decade earlier than I actually did. Had I known that probiotics, good ample supply of probiotics every day would, over not a long period of time, would just calm my stomach down, and it wouldn't have developed to full blown, almost to the point of it was almost irritable bowel syndrome, where if I got worried about something, I'd have to go. And sometimes when I really had to go, I get anxious. It was just the worst. And it just went away after I started adding like good, proper amounts of probiotics supplemented into my system. I would have definitely started wearing a mouth guard for my teeth grinding earlier on, way earlier than I ended up doing. There's just a few things, man. There's a lot. I mean, there's definitely a lot. There's a couple of gym injuries I would have warned myself about. Definitely breaking my nose sparring. I gave myself some like really good rules of thumb to just use. So I would have never gotten into some of this trouble, I guess. But yeah, I mean, those are some of the main topics I would cover. What would you have, Steve? What would be some of the topics you would cover with your 25-year-old self to warn them about?
My things pretty much mirror you, buddy. Mostly nutrition, but also when it comes to weight training, I would have told myself with regards to weight training, don't lift so fucking heavy and don't be such a type A personality, which I am, where I want to overdo things. I want to overtrain. I want to do over things. It take a little more of a patient approach, because what happens is, your discs, they can't handle the stuff I put my disc through. That's why I have 2 or 3 herniated discs. You know what I'm saying? So I would have told myself just to slow down a little bit when it comes to everything. Has to be like 110% with me, everything. And I would have told myself to calm down, because my body's too fucking fragile. Our bodies are made of flesh, and very, very fragile things. So gotta take care of your body and not overdo it. Nutrition, my goodness. If I knew what I knew back then when it came to nutrition, I mean, life would be so much easier. So I would have told myself with refined oils, avoid refined oils. Stick to natural oils from nature, like natural, unrefined, unprocessed, cold pressed coconut oil. Use that to cook, instead of using these sprays and all this other crap that people usually use in restaurants cook with. So my nutrition was pretty good though when I was 25. I had already, had a good sense of nutrition, but nutrition is one of those things where there's so much to learn out there. I would have taught myself, I would have told myself, hey, some of these extra tips that I'm telling myself now. But back then I knew a lot about nutrition already, but there's just so much. Time restricted eating would have been something I would have learned about. I would have learned about heart health and cardio. A lot of these things, a lot of myths back then that were being spread on forums. One of the ones is cardio, hurts your muscle gain. So, being scared to do cardio or stuff like, oh, you shouldn't do cardio fasted. It's not good for you. Or you should eat breakfast. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. All this other shit. I kind of figured out.
Cardio is when you do more than 5 reps.
Yeah. And, around that time too, like I was doing a lot of cardio, by the way. I was doing a lot of endurance sports and stuff, triathlons and stuff. So I would have definitely gave myself tips on endurance and proper ways to train, because I didn't react well when it came to endurance training to high intensity interval training. I reacted better to long, slow distance. And the only way you can learn that is from experience. So that would have saved myself a lot of headache. I would have got a head start on my peers I was going up against if I had known that. But what's interesting is most of you out there will probably react better to interval training. But in my case, I think because I'm such a type A personality and I overdo things, I think when I was doing the interval training, I was actually overtraining so much that actually hurt my times instead of helping them. But when I do long, slow distance running on a soft surface out in the, on a trail, it wasn't pounding my body into the dirt. So I think that's what I would tell myself. Don't pound your body in dirt. A lot of you guys who listen to this podcast are type A personalities too. So you're going to be tempted at 25 just to pound the shit out of your body. But the thing is, pounding the shit out of your body in your 20s, it's going to catch up to you once you get in your 30s and, of course, your 40s. And you're going to look back and be like, shit, I should have took it down a notch. And I would be a lot more healthier today, So, all right, the next one we're going to get into is paleo and carnivore diets opinion. So let me say this. I like paleo. I like the idea behind paleo diets or paleo diets, however you want to pronounce it. It's a natural way of eating. It's the caveman diet, whatever. And the thing about it is people need to learn that paleo, they have to do it properly to get like going to Chipotle and getting a burrito is not paleo eating, because that burrito has refined oils in it. It's got, of course, the wrap, right? That's not paleo, right? Even if you didn't get it with the wrap, it's still not going to be paleo because they use refined oils to cook that food. So you can't get a paleo diet from going to a restaurant. You have to make your food from scratch on your own, right? So that right there. Another thing with paleo doesn't make any sense is the amount of meat that I see paleo people eating. And our ancestors, the cavemen, whatever, they didn't have access to that much meat. You didn't have farms where they would put a fence around and keep the animals in a cage or in a fence and raise them and then butcher them and eat them. You had to go out into the nature and track them down. And so what would happen was the only protein sources they'd really be able to catch would be things like maybe a rabbit here and there. They'd be able to trap a rabbit, maybe a squirrel, maybe a rodent, grubs, stuff like that, termites. Those would be their protein sources. They wouldn't have access to huge cows. They wouldn't have access to tons of chickens, as much chicken as we eat in America. It's insane. Maybe they were lucky. They'd find like a dead bird that had, tipped over because it got old or had some type of disease. And then they'd take the feathers off, or maybe they find a nest with eggs and be able to eat those eggs. Those would be their protein sources, and have you ever gone in the woods and looked for eggs, look for a nest? It wasn't easy. Okay. It's not easy to climb trees and look for nests. Okay. So the amount of protein they were getting in those days, it doesn't support the amount of protein I see guys doing with the paleo diet today. So, but the concept behind paleo diet, I like. Now, carnivore diet, the problem with carnivore diet is we as humans, the way our digestive system is set up, we cannot consume dry meat. So the only really animal parts that you should be eating if you do a carnivore diet, like let's say you just want to do carnivore for a month, you should be only consuming bone broth, homemade bone broth, and organs. And you can also consume fats from the animals and skin from the animals, but in very, very, very little muscle parts of the animals. So people who are doing a carnivore diet, like these idiots online who do the carnivore diet, who are eating steak and beef and chicken breast, that's not carnivore diet. Okay. You cannot do that for a month and not have severe consequences on your gut health, because those things are too dry. You've got to eat the wet things, the organs, the bone broth from the bone marrow. Those are the things that you have to consume for a month doing the carnivore diet. So I'm not an advocate of carnivore diet, but I do like paleo. I like paleo a lot. And as long as you do it properly, guys, and you focus in on good, nutritious food and not restaurant food, because you're not going to get paleo from restaurant food. What are your thoughts on this one, Rick? I kind of ranted for a while on it.
I guess the core of the question, just to really back a little bit, is like, what do we think about those diets? Are they good diets, bad diets? I think each person should see what settles well with their body. Everyone should do a nice course of probiotics for months. Switch different brands, get the stuff that's cold in the refrigerator, probiotics, psyllium husk, digestive enzymes. Make sure that your gut is well first before you can really determine what's going to work well for you, and then see what you do better in. I firmly believe that there are humans out there that will perform better their bodies will be much healthier on mainly a vegetarian, mainly a veggie diet. I do believe there are humans out there whose bodies will perform way better on mainly a meat diet. Some people will need to be 50-50 vegetables and meat. Some people, I think as different as the color of your eyes and hair and shapes in your face can be, that's how different digestive systems can be between people that are in a family and just as alike. It's a good friend of mine who should probably have on the podcast one day, Steve. He's a yogi, he's a yoga master. He's always lived a healthy life. And since he was a child, since he was a very little baby, he couldn't stomach any animal meats. He would like throw them up. And really quickly, his family learned that he would be okay eating veggies and beans and stuff like that as a baby. But anytime they try to feed him any kind of meats, he would have a reaction to them. And today he doesn't eat any meat. He has a reaction. He tried to take capsules and some of my Need to Build Muscle supplements, and he said he felt he was having a nausea reaction to it. He's got to open the capsules and pour them in a milkshake because even the gelatin he can't really handle. But he's not some animal rights guy. I mean, he slaughters meat for his family. He'll actually buy a goat and slaughter it and feed family and friends. And he cooks meat for his dogs. He feeds his dogs organ meats. So he's not all about, his body just can't handle it. And he's one of a couple of people I've ran into like that. There are people that do really well on mainly carnivore diet, where it's mainly meats. It's really first baseline. You want a baseline with good gut health first. Make sure you take psyllium husk every day, 10 to 30 grams every day for at least a couple of months. Make sure you take probiotics, different strains, the good stuff, the refrigerated stuff from the health food store. Take that for a few months. Make sure that you do some of these things first, and then you have a really easy time assessing what sits well with your body and what doesn't. But I think a diet and how we feel on certain diets and the results, it's a real personal journey. It's a real personal journey where even people within the same family will react differently. Their bodies will react differently to the same foods, same spices, same, levels of salt, things like that. I think it's a real personal journey. And with the paleo diet, look, try it, give it a shot, see how you feel on it. Carnivore diet, give that a shot, see how you feel on it. Just give it a go and see how it goes, document it and learn what is best for you, what things you tolerate, you like. And the decisions will get a lot easier over time when it comes to dieting once you know yourself really well.
Just, on this, the blue zones around the world, this is where the people live the longest, the healthiest. There's virtually no cancer, no obesity, no type 2 diabetes, none of that shit even exists, heart disease, any of that. And the interesting thing is these are different ethnic groups of people, number one. Number two, they don't eat the same foods. So what Rick is saying is correct. They don't eat the same diet. However, most of their diets are going to be fruits and vegetables. And the reason for that is because fruits and vegetables are very high water content. And as human beings, our bodies are mostly made up of water. And that's what our bodies can better, digest much easier. Like if you consume a cucumber, it's 96% water. It's very easy to digest. That's a great thing to take if you have to have something before a run or before the gym or something, and it's a last minute thing, that would be the best option for you because it's not something that's going to be difficult to digest because it's 96% water. But if you ate a steak and then tried to go run a 5K, it wouldn't end well for you. You see what I'm saying? So, but my point is in the blue zones, even though they don't eat the same food, like in Okinawa, Japan, which is a blue zone, they eat a shitload of sweet potatoes. But in Icaria, Greece, they eat a shitload of other fruits and vegetables. They eat more of bushy fruits and vegetables that grow on bushes. I'm just giving you an example. And then in Costa Rica, they have a blue zone there, Nicoya, Costa Rica. They eat a lot of tropical fruits in their diet. So, and in Okinawa, they don't eat tropical fruits. It's not a tropical climate. You see what I'm saying? So, different parts of the world, they eat different things. But at the end of the day, that's that most of their diet is going to be fruits and vegetables. So I always tell people, if you're going through health problems, best thing you can do is just do fruits and vegetables for a while, and that can usually fix a lot of your health ailments and get you going in the right direction.
I recently did a I don't know if I would call it experiment or whatever, but so I'd read some literature recently here on scientists that examine the fecal matter of ancient man. Fecal matter that been recovered from, I don't know, well over 50,000 years ago from just men, men that would have the same form you and I would have, Steve. You could have grabbed one of those guys and taught them how to drive a car and they would have been able to do it fine. Just humans like you and I. And apparently some of the samples that recovered show they were ingesting just around 100 grams of fiber every day. Apparently fecal matter had been collected at different dig sites throughout the years, but it was just something that was sort of ignored, just tagged and stored away for a while. And more recently, they said, hey, we got this fossilized caveman poop, this fossilized Homo sapien poop. Let's see what's in it. Over 100 grams of protein. And so I said, you know what? I'm just going to give it a shot for like a couple of weeks. I'm going to take 100 grams of psyllium husk for a couple of weeks. And now I'm not saying anybody out there go run and do this. I take psyllium husk quite a lot. And I stepped it up. I did about 100 grams of psyllium husk for just over 2 weeks. And don't want to gross anybody out there listening, but you'd be surprised when you step up your fiber intake, how there might still be some blockages, some things that I wouldn't call it full up blockage, but some plaque or something crazy in your colon that you think it's different. I think and then I threw in a couple of days of water fast. I threw in one 24-hour water fast and another 48-hour water fast while I was still doing the 100 grams a day of psyllium husk. And I got to tell you, man, you'd be surprised. You think that because you're taking your fiber, your probiotics, and your digestive enzymes pretty often, that you're not going to still accumulate some plaque. And you'd be surprised. I think our body is able to process quite a bit of fiber. It might even rely and need that much fiber when you're eating the kind of stuffs we're eating. So just something to toss out there, just a short kind of little experiment that kind of ran on myself just to see if I noticed. I figured if there's some plaque or something going on, the increase in fiber, this pretty severe increase in fiber sustained over a couple of weeks, is bound to shake something loose, and I'm going to see something different. If I'm pretty well free of blockages, because the amount that I take, the 5-10 grams 3 times a day, 2-3 times a day that I take, it's enough. And yeah, when I stepped up the fiber intake and added days where I had no food at all and took the fiber, and I still noticed there was something going on there, something coming out, shaking loose, which leads me to believe if I might run another one of those with just like pineapple core and papaya organic papaya, pineapple core, and psyllium husk every day. Maybe run that for a little while and see what happens. But pretty interesting to know, like, even with often fiber use and taking digestive aids, you still might have some plaque, might develop something, in the colon, something that's kind of hanging out, stuck in there, and should have came out, but doesn't want to. It's weird.
Bad news is gut health. It's the brain of your body, guys. If your gut health is poor, everything's gonna be poor. If your gut health is great, you're gonna have much more success in fitness. Look at Tom Brady. Takes his gut health extremely serious, and he went strong for a long time while his peers were flaming out after short careers. So take care of your gut, guys. Listen to the podcast. We'll have a lot more tips on the gut. So next one we're talking about is misconceptions at the gym. So, I'm gonna name one really quick, and then I'll let Rick maybe name one or two, and then I'll kind of come back and name one myself. So one of the misconceptions that we see at the gym is, or some of the things that we see at the gym that aren't good are people who do the same workouts over and over and over, and they'll go in there, and if you know them, you know exactly what they're doing. They only use like 4 or 5 machines in the whole gym, and they start off doing the same machine that particular day, and then they'll go to the next machine. It's just the same shit over and over. And then I think one of the misconceptions is you have to just do the same workouts over and over because you're training your body to get used to those workouts, and it's just not true. So what I tell people is do reverse. Do a reverse. Instead of always doing the machine first, try doing whatever machine you do last, and then try that, and work in reverse here and there. And it kind of keeps it more fun. It keeps your brain more into it. So I think a lot of people just have that misconception that they're supposed to always keep their training in the same order. They'll do 4 or 5 of the same machines in the exact same order every workout. And it just doesn't work that way. And really, if you're not spreading things out, you're going to end up with imbalances anyway. You have to work out your entire muscle structure. You can't just do 4 or 5 machines unless you really know what you're doing and you're doing the right lifts, I suppose. But it's going to be hard to really hit every muscle group properly and balance things out if you're just doing the same 4 machines every time you go to the gym. So I think that's a big misconception. A lot of people, even who are experienced, may not even understand that part.
Yeah, hit me a second one.
So I'm going to give you a funny one. How about women don't give a shit how much you're lifting? How about that? Like, you ever see like these guys, like a woman will be on the bench press and he'll go right next to her on the bench press and he'll start loading a bunch of weight on there to try to impress her.
Yeah.
Guys, she doesn't give a shit how much you're benching, okay? She really doesn't care. And she just sees that you put a bunch of weight on there. She's not paying attention. She's not impressed by how much weight. I think that's a misconception that other people, not just women, but I think that misconception is other people give a shit about how much you're lifting. Don't lift for other people. Lift for yourself. And that will, it'll be much easier for you if you can do that. It's kind of a funny one, a little dickish one. How about you?
That's funny, actually. They women don't get around to moving those big ass weights around, so she doesn't even know how impressive it is, really. Other guys know, because other guys have moved that much weight around, so when a dude's crushing it or not. But women kind of, I don't think, have a real sense of what it means, and most women should be used to men being physically stronger anyway. It just doesn't mean anything. That's
I love those guys. They put on a bunch of weight on like the deadlift. And then they like do it and they're like, and their like spines like bending like a question mark. And then it's like the worst form ever. And then they do it and then they put it down and they get all excited. And then they pick up their phone and text on their phone or do whatever. They think they're the shit. I always laugh at that. I don't know. I think it's funny. I'm not
All of
impressed.
all
I'm
of these
really not impressed. I'd rather see you do the deadlift, 150-pound deadlift with actual good form. That is more impressive when I see someone doing that. Then I saw a young guy the other day squatting with the most pristine form I've ever seen in my life. And that impressed me. He was probably like fucking 20 years old. You could tell like he was on a weightlifting team in his school and his coach actually taught him how to lift properly. You know, he was doing ass to grass, the most perfect, you know, perfect form you can imagine. That to me is impressive. I'm impressed by the dude, you know, putting on 500 pounds squats and doing, you know, a 10-degree angle or something. So I just thought to throw that in.
Gym misconceptions. You'd be surprised how many people are on steroids at your gym. Like really surprised. Because not everyone that's on steroids is really going to look it. You'd be surprised how many old guys in there are some kind of TRT, even though they might not look at it at first. How many girls on the treadmill are on clenbuterol or something like that? I guess a big gym misconception is that for someone to be taking PEDs, they'd have to look like it. They really don't. They really, really, really don't. Another misconception is that the guy shadow boxing actually knows how to fight. Usually when I go to a weight gym, there's a bag area. You hit the bag and, you know, warm up and be done. But like if you want to shadow box or do anything like crazy or like that, just go to dojo and do it there. You know, like you be a dojo at an actual martial arts gym, shadow box all day long. You don't look weird. Nobody gives a fuck. What's homie doing? Oh, he's just shadow boxing, working on something. It's done. But like, it just looks weird. Or like, you shadow boxing in a weight room in front of the mirror, like you're doing sets and shadow boxing in between. I've seen guys do that. I always thought that was kind of weird because it's just not. I don't know. It's just not the way I don't find that as a good time to shadow box. But I do see like, you know, they got a heavy bag in your gym. I'd rather warm up with a heavy bag all day long before I sit on a treadmill. You know, I'd rather break a sweat, you know, break a sweat at the back. I'll put on earphones that'll hold, that I know I can hit the bag with, and my earphones will stay in. You know, run my playlist, and I kind of know time and rest time by just listening to the music. I kind of know where I rest and where I go hard. That's cool. But yeah, it's like if you do it, you don't look cool. And if you see these guys, they probably don't go to dojo or real training gym. Otherwise, they do that shit there, in my opinion. What else, man? I don't know, man. I can't think of any bits right now, dude. I'm stumped. I should have prepped better before the show, but yeah, man. I can't think of any other gym misconceptions. If you have another one, I could comment on it.
Well, I can follow up on that. I think if you go to a suburban gym anywhere in America, because of steroids being we talked about it on the last podcast, because steroids are so easily accessible, like literally a click of the mouse and some Bitcoin, you can buy steroids, and everyone has a side hustle. So people have money right now to spend on shit like steroids. So go to a suburban gym, I would guesstimate fucking probably 60-70% of people are either on steroids or have used steroids. So I mean, that's you know, especially among the, I would say 25 to 30 male demographic in your gym, 25 to 35, I'd say demographic, I'd say it's probably 60-70% in a suburban gym in America. So absolutely. All right, buddy. So the next one we're going to talk, maybe we'll hit that topic again in the future. So the next one is for you lovebirds out there, good gifts for Valentine's Day. So, you know, I'll give you a good gift that you probably never heard of. I was actually reading an article from CNN, I believe, and they had a list of top Valentine's Day gifts, and I came across something that I would have never thought of. And this is something great for you, Rick, when you're in New York, and that is a towel and blanket warmer. Have you heard of that before? You probably have those in New York, right? Probably built in.
First time I heard about it.
Well, those basically, so you basically put your towel in it and you push the button, right? And then you take your shower. And when you get out of your shower, you open it up and your towel's warm. How nice is that? This way you get out of your shower, you're not shivering and using like a cold towel. You can use a hot towel. And then before bed, same thing. Like 30 minutes before you go to bed, 15 minutes before you go to bed, you throw your blanket in there. It's like a little hamper thingy, and it warms your blanket up, and then you can go to bed on a cold night, and she'll have a nice blanket, or he'll have a nice blanket. And that's a great idea if you live in a cold climate, for sure. I think that's a great idea. So I never thought of that before, and I think that would really make your spouse happy. What you got, buddy? You're the love bird between us. Well, what is a good Valentine's Day gift that you've given? What did you give Conchita?
Money, dollars. Usually, dude, what I do when it comes to what I do when it comes to special occasions like that is just make some plans. Women love plans. When you make plans to go do something, and you follow through on said plans, and call it a day, pretty much, man. You know, that's all I do. And as far as the gift, I listen out. You know, women will give you hints. They'll kind of let you know what they want. You just gotta be listening. You gotta be a good listener. And once she tells you what she wants, you make sure to surprise her with it. Women will tell you what they want. They'll say it or make it sound in a special way. And they'll fire off a few things that they might want before you go. I mean, like before the time comes, they might let you know about it, fire off a few things they want. And all you got to do is really listen, man. You know, all you have to really do is listen. And if you do, she'll tell you exactly what she wants, man. I think a lot of times you'll get someone that might want something a little different. Like they want you to do something special for them. It's more of the preparation than the actual gift. You got to kind of know who you're dealing with too, I think. Like someone will appreciate a small gift as long as there's like dinner and bubble bath and all that cool stuff. The other women who are like, that's good. That's cool. Dinner, bubble bath, rose petals. All right. What the fuck did you get me? You know, and you got to kind of know, who you're dealing with. And, you know, it makes a big difference. But yeah, man, listen, you know, she'll tell you what she wants, man. Listen, you know, there's not she'll tell you what kind of gift she wants. She might not be able to tell you other things, emotional, other stuff. She might not be able to be very straightforward. But when it comes to items that she like to acquire, most women will tell you ahead of time if you're just willing to listen.
Worst case scenario, if you can't find something, jewelry. You can't go wrong with jewelry, but make sure it's, you're getting not like yellow gold jewelry. That seems to be out of style big time. You know, I would have thought, gold growing up, gold was so cool, like gold teeth and gold jewelry and stuff like that. But for women,
if you're already married and you want to splurge, I mean, you could get her another diamond engagement ring. Maybe do something cool and get like a different colored stone or something cool like that.
Well, they have anniversary, like 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. They have certain types of jewelry you're supposed to get for different, like 5 year, 10 year. You know what I'm saying? Like platinum, there might be platinum one day, gold, 1 year. So they already have. You can look that up if you're married a long time and you want, and she'll get it. Also, another tip too is birthstone. Look up the birthstone of the month she was born and get a jewelry of that. But what I'm trying to get at is don't buy jewelry like that she might not like. Like, so the neutral type of jewelry, like diamonds, like a diamond necklace, a diamond bracelet, stuff like that, can't go wrong getting that, and make sure it's like silver
And make sure you
diamond.
keep the receipt and you can return it for without losing any money if she doesn't like it. Not a lot of times, unless you know her extremely well, your taste is going to be quite different than hers in jewelry, or what you think will look good on her. There's a lot of different tricks of tricking women into telling you what they want. You might make a casual stop in a jewelry store that's near you guys, and then you say, "I'm here, look at a watch or look at
Yeah,
something."
just keep an eye on what she's really
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
at. And she's like, wow,
Look at
that's,
that. Yeah.
and you can point at it and be like, wow, that's pretty. That all looks cool. And then she'll be like, yeah, I really like it, really like it. Then you'll know you can get that for her. That's what I do. That's what I've learned to do over the years. So listen to them, because men don't know how to listen to women. So if you can just like try to learn to listen just a little bit. And I mean, I hate going to the mall, but that's something you could do, walking around the mall. Just keep an eye on what she'll like. And women are smart. They'll kind of hint at you what they like too, if you've been with them a while. So, but if you only been with a girl like a couple months, I think the towel warmer is a really good idea, like the blanket warmer, because that's something kind of, it's not like, it's something she could really use and reuse and enjoy, especially in a cold climate. I'm surprised you don't have that in New York, buddy. So I know some people up north, they have, actually, when you get out of the shower, the floor itself is warm. Have you heard of that before?
Yeah, I have. And now that I think about it, I have heard of towel warmers before. It's just not something I've ever really had, but I've
Yeah.
heard of these things.
I wonder if something you could buy that you can actually put on your on the floor, if that's where it's not built in. Maybe something like some type of something that you can put when you get out of the shower and you step on, and the floor would be warm, because it sucks like getting out of the shower when it's cold and you're shivering. So
And why the way I deal with the actual bathroom situation, I know exactly what you're talking about. I didn't think you even knew this happened because you're in Florida, but yeah, New York, sometimes it'll get real cold and the air gets real dry. So when you're wet, you feel really cold. I have a tiny little $30 space heater electronic that is just for my bathroom. And in the morning, one of the first things I do is I plug that sucker in right in the bathroom, close the door. And then by the time I finally end up going in for my shower, shower's pretty warm. And I put the warmer right on the floor. Just so it blows right over my bathroom carpet, and it's usually pretty nice. Also, another trick I do, here's a trick for all you guys out there in the cold weather. Another trick I do is I when I'm still in the stall, like in the shower, and I'm still the heat of the shower is still kind of trapped in there, stick my hand out, I'll pull the towel in, and I mostly pat myself dry pretty good before I even open and exit the shower and go into the air, the rest of the bathroom. And that makes the shock less. But yeah, dude, like taking a shower and snow outside, you're in the shower. Even if your house remains a good temperature, once you jump out, man, you feel cold, and the floor, the ground, it's cold. So I know what you're saying, man. I know that all too well during the winter in the Northeast.
You didn't have to take a shower. Well, so every time you guys get out of the shower, I want you guys to think of Rick being cold in New York, and his like skin's all shriveled up and stuff. Next shower you guys take it, you're dripping wet, naked. Get out of the shower. Think of Rick. All right. So next one we're gonna talk about. This one's for you, Rick, because you're the entrepreneur. What would be? Let me pull this one up. This is a good question. Did you like this question? It says, "What business would you start if you were gifted 100,000?" So, what would you do?
That's real interesting.
You want to hear what I would do first?
Yeah. Let me hear you. Go ahead.
Strip club.
Oh, I know that. I know you love them strippers.
So it's like, so what I would do
For 100K, you can't open a strip club in Florida for 100K. Maybe you could open a strip club in Tijuana or someplace like that for that much, but not
Or I would do, I would go to a third world country and do it, but I would also open up. You could do two businesses. The second business I would open up is American style car wash. That makes sense? Because you know what I'm saying? Like American style, and like it'd be cool, and everyone would be bringing their car in. They'd be thinking, "This is Americans," that run this joint. You know what I'm saying? And everyone,
when I'm in South America, the car wash for my car in South America, it's like half the price, sometimes more than half the price of the automatic car wash in the US. And it's like people doing it. Like people actually take the time to wash your car, do a really good job with it too. Takes longer, but it's like less than $10, maybe $12 with tip. But like I go to a car wash in the US, it's like 20 some dollars for less humans and less manpower. That's how it is, man. Yeah.
It's more than that, dude. It was like $50-$60, man. What are you talking about?
Well, I do some of my own car maintenance myself. So I just go and let them, kind of wash the outside, this and this and that. Usually where I go is like 20 something dollars because I take care of the inside of my car myself.
All right, buddy. So then let me leave it to you. What would you do? $100,000 what business would you do?
That's a great question. So here's the give you a real answer. It depends on you first. How old are you? Are you a guy who got 100K in your 20s, or did you get 100K in your 40s or your 30s? If you have a skill set, if you have a real deal skill set, yeah, you don't need me to tell you what to invest the money in. You would invest it into a business or an opportunity that would play to your skill set or your passion. Maybe you already have a job, but you like to be doing something different on the side. 100K could be what you need to actually invest, 50, 60K, 70K of that into the actual business you really want to do. And you have 30K to cover living expenses while you make the jump, or vice versa, 30K into the business, 70K for living expenses if you're making a longer play. So you don't need me to tell you what to invest in. You know what your passion project is, you know what your skill set is, and you know how you would play it if you had the 100K. If you're a younger man, or maybe if you're an older guy and you find yourself not happy with what you do, finding that your skill set is not even really delivering in this new day and age, then I take the 100K to get myself a new set of skills, a new things that I'd want to be able to learn how to do. I'll give you an example, but see, I wouldn't take that to go to college per se. I'd go I get some kind of trade. You could pay, I'll give you a quick example. You could pay $10,000 and do like a 3-month, 4-month boot camp and programming. And you can go from just having very basic knowledge of programming, or maybe none, and then over 4 to 6 months become a pretty darn good programmer if you really set your mind to it. Or many other things. I would spend the money getting fuck a college. You want to get like a trade, a real trade kind of skill set that you want to work with. So, and that's if you're a younger guy in your 20s, where when you're 20, you still got the time to like switch lanes, to figure it out, to see what you do. When you're in your 30s, you got to kind of really execute the things you know what to do. Once you're 40, that's when you got to innovate your industry and really, do something the industry might be too late. There have been guys that switch lanes in their 40s and are successful, but I'm not going to lie to you and tell you I've heard of way too many. There are guys that do something their whole life, and then around 40, an opportunity comes and something new in the world comes along and they go and execute, but it ain't many. by the time you're 40, you want to kind of have your skill set pretty well established and work on that. So before 40, early to 20s, early 30s, you could spend that money gaining some skill sets. You know, going to some coaching events, getting some coaching yourself, really, you know, doing it up. When you were in your 40s, use some of that money to cover living expenses while you go work on your real passion. Maybe you have a business. Maybe you have a business already, a small business that's doing all right. And with 100K, you could double down on it. Shit, that's what I put that right into stock for my own supplement company, launch a couple of new products that I like to put out, shore up my stock in others. So maybe I could be more aggressive in wholesale. Like, depends on you what you would do with those 100K. Depends on your skill sets. But we're in a day and age where it doesn't matter what you're good at. With proper execution, you could make more money than you could ever imagine. With poor execution, you spin your wheels and won't make much. Two guys with the same skill set could literally both work. One make, you know, having freedom and money, and the other one not. It depends on how you play it. You know, it depends on how, you know, the savvy that you have for it. But that's it, man. That's the only thing I got to offer is that.
All right, buddy. So guys, 465. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll have another Q&A next week. Take care.
Have a good one, Steve. Have a good one, guys.
Guys, this is the required legal disclaimer. We are only sharing our experience from years of steroid use. We are not doctors, and none of what we say should be regarded as medical advice. Always check with your doctor before taking any drugs or starting any training program.